Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, The Real Super Sam. Today is a very exciting top 5 stories list on the channel and I really hope you enjoy. To start this video off, I want to say Happy Thanksgiving everybody. Now let's begin. You guys know about Hammerhead, right? The old-timey acting criminal gangster in the Spider-Man universe with a head harder than steel. Hammerhead is a very cool villain. He is a guy who will just run into trouble and get out of it, usually doing jobs for his own gang, but and my favorite moments are when he is minding his own business and he then has to get into a fight with a superhero and surprises them on how formidable he is. And on a funny personal note, I think his rotating office hideout is so cool. In media, he has been done very well, I think. At least they made him memorable, like in LEGO Marvel 2 and his appearances in Spider-Man the Animated Series. The best media versions of him were in Spectacular Spider-Man, but when he appeared once in Ultimate Spider-Man TV series in the Noir universe, that was good too. He is my 10th favorite Spider-Man villain, and a lot of his best moments are not in 616 continuity, but his top stories are. I really like him as a Noir villain, even though that was first made up for the video game. His appearances in the video are great stories with him, Hammerhead, in them in big roles. So no stories where he just appears for like a page or two, but where he has to fight and conflict with another hero. With that said, here are the top 5 best stories for Hammerhead. Number 5. The Ghost That Haunted Octopus. Hammerhead is out. Armin, with Dr. Octopus. In this story, Hammerhead came back as a ghost, in Amazing Spider-Man issues 157 through 159. Ever since issue 131, it seemed like Dr. Octopus and Hammerhead both died in the giant explosion, but it's shown Hammerhead is a ghost now and haunting Octopus, who has started hiding to recuperate with May Parker. Chases happen and Doc Ock has this idea to get rid of Hammerhead with atomic energy, but it just happens to bring Hammerhead back to life right in front of them. Hammerhead is actually pretty smart here as he tricks Dr. Octopus into bringing him back to life. When Hammerhead comes back to life, man, he is at the top of his game in no time, and this scene happens. Hammerhead really is a brutal character, and that's one of the reasons I love him. A very silly and goofy story for anyone to be in. The fact that it's Dr. Octopus and the Hammerhead character as a ghost makes me want to laugh, and geez, I enjoy this story so much. Like, he says he's taking over New York, but like, he's a ghost. He acts the same as he did when he was alive. I find this story so goofy. I like how much of a threat Hammerhead was treated as though. Number 4. Overload, Inner Turmoil, Decisions Undone. Yeah, this Hammerhead story was actually in Silver Sable in the Wild Pack, issues 31 through 33. Hammerhead has captured Silver Sable, and he is going to deliver her to the head of the Maggio crime family for a reward. I'm going to just get into telling you guys what makes this so great and a must-see Hammerhead tale for fans. It is all about Hammerhead's mob boss attitude. Ultimately, Hammerhead loses and says that he's been in trouble for the villain Foreigner for a while, but Sable still arrests him. This story shows Hammerhead using his head in more ways than one, and has his depiction as just a gangster type guy, just the way I like him. Hammerhead here is a likable villain, which are my favorite moments for Hammerhead, or really any villain, when you can relate to them or share a laugh, and to me, Hammerhead does that a lot here. Actually, one thing I'm going to mention for this story for Hammerhead is he's against hitting women or children, so I guess he's not a monster exactly. A show like this is again why I find Hammerhead so awesome. Number 3. Spider-Man Lifeline. Spider-Man Lifeline was a 3-issue miniseries with Hammerhead making a great appearance, as it is reminiscent of the cartoon episodes in Spider-Man the Animated Series, episodes 24 and 25, which those episodes came before these issues, but with Hammerhead as the main villain. You may have also guessed right that this is a sequel to the original Lifeline tablet storyline from way back in Amazing Spider-Man issues 68 through 75. Anyway, Hammerhead wants that tablet, and as a boss, sends Boomerang out to get it. Hammerhead has kidnapped Dr. Kirk Connors, yes, the Lizard's alias, and is forcing him to activate the tablet. This time, Hammerhead is serious, scary, but has some funny moments. As a high-profile gang leader, he threatens a lot of people around him, but still is an easy guy for Spider-Man to tackle. Heck, if he had more powers, he probably would be higher on my list for top 10 Spider-Man villains, but anyway. The reason he's decided to do this is to save his dying sister with the Lifeline tablet's powers. Wow. A sympathetic side for Joseph here, aka Hammerhead, and one that is treated very well. At the end, Hammerhead gets all the power and becomes a shiny power god person. He in fact does some good things for 2 pages, restores the Lizard back into Kirk Connors, and shows Spider-Man he can bring back the people he loves. But then his power leaves him, and Spider-Man shows him that he actually made a cure for his sister in Kurt's lab, and it works. After his sister is okay, Hammerhead turns himself in to be no trouble, at least for today. It is an ending that the superhero Spider-Man would have, and even with the villain defeated, still shows grace and helps out in any way he can for an innocent life. One thing, Hammerhead knows that Connors has the lizard inside him and isn't worried about it at all. He definitely only sees his sister hurt and wants to save her no matter what. This was a fun story with a lot of twists for Hammerhead that I recommend highly. Number 2, Gang War Schmang War. What I want to know is who the heck is Hammerhead? The final battle. These 2 issues were Hammerhead's first appearances in Amazing Spider-Man 114 and 115. This is at the start of the Hammerhead-Dr. Octopus rivalry that goes on for years. After fighting Doc Ock and winning in the last issue, Hammerhead shows up and almost kills Spider-Man right there on the spot. He decides to spare Spidey's life and make him help in his little gang war against Doc Ock. In his very first appearance, we get his origin story. He was a gangster that was left for dead in an alley when a doctor, Jonas Harrow, found him and saved his fading life, replacing the top of his head with an unbreakable steel alloy. The reason this is so high on the list is because Hammerhead acts perfectly here, like an old-school gangster who still is tough enough to go toe-to-toe with anyone he meets, even the superhero Spider-Man. This is also one of his best fighting moments, like here, when he knocks down Spider-Man from behind. With it being Hammerhead's first appearance, there would have been a chance that I just wanted to put it on the best stories list, but the characterization of Hammerhead was what I always liked him to be, and what he eventually acted like again in the future. And now, the greatest Hammerhead story of all time is called Family Ties, in Amazing Spider-Man 575 to 576. Hammerhead works for Mr. Negative now since Mr. Negative saved his life and gave him a brain transplant into a new robotic adamantium skeleton. Now Hammerhead is going to all the Bronx gangs to get them to go up against the Magia. Hammerhead has changed a lot from his previous stories. He is bloodier and acts a little more like a common, colorful Spider-Man villain, and the art shows him much more graphic. Like here, when he destroys the guy's mouth with a headbutt, this story and specific scene shows Hammerhead has pride in being a gangster, and I like that it shows that. There are some great panels here that show Hammerhead as a scary character to Spider-Man, which has never been done before this issue, and I really respect the story for that, especially since they kept Hammerhead's way of talking and acting like a mob boss the exact same. Hammerhead's whole head is pure adamantium now, so to stop him today, Spider-Man dislocates his hip to whip him up. It is a fast ending and kind of sad to see him lose so easily, but Hammerhead's character is why I think this is his greatest story. There you go, the top 5 Hammerhead stories. There are other great Hammerhead moments, but for the stories with him in them as the main villain, I think these are the top 5 ever. Hammerhead is the perfect villain for a live-action TV show, maybe if Daredevil ever comes back, or even in a cartoon. Hammerhead in the comics is a villain who I'd say rose to his height in his first few appearances, then dropped down, then rose back up again, but that's just me. I think he was at his best in the early days. I'm feeling like making more videos on street-level heroes and villains like Daredevil and The Flash, but that's for another day. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and have a great time.